I'm Cynthia Millman. I met Frankie in 1986, watching him dance at a club in New York, and went up and spoke to him, and he was absolutely lovely to talk to, and we struck up a friendship. I began studying with him. I started working with him in the Big Apple Lindy Hoppers and performing with him, and then we started doing some teaching together and lecture demos on the history, because I was fascinated by the history of swing dancing and his ability to remember it and share it. And then we ended up doing a book together, and it was called Frankie Manning, Ambassador of Lindy Hop, and it was Frankie's life story. And got to know him quite well from that. And I always said about Frankie, the more you get to know him, the more you love him. I mean, he was just such a great person, and it was, I consider it one of the greatest experiences of my life to have done that book and to have found swing dancing. It really changed my life, and I'm so grateful that I met him and found this wonderful dance and this incredible community. Asking me what my favorite step is I'm a librarian. It's like asking me what my favorite book is. It's practically impossible to say. I love all the steps, but if I have to narrow it down, one that comes to mind is the Charlie Chaplin, and I love that for a few reasons. It drew on popular culture at the time, and I think that's such an important part of the Lindy Hop, that it was always had its ear to the ground and was always infusing itself with steps and people and things that were going on in popular culture. And I also feel that it shows a really special thing about Frankie, which was he was not only a beautiful dancer and mover, but he was a great actor. And so his facial expressions added so much to the movement and really made it even more fun to watch and more theatrical. So I also really love the air steps. I thought it was so much fun to do them and such a great physical challenge. And I feel very lucky because I was able to learn a lot of them directly from Frankie when I was in the Big Apple Lindy Hoppers, and he was our artistic director and coming to rehearsals on a regular basis. And I think one of the first ones I learned, and it remained one of my favorites, was Around the Back. And I really like that one because it's kind of magical. You can't really see the mechanics of it that easily. Some of the other ones you can tell exactly what happens, but suddenly the follower is just sort of flying around and you don't really know exactly how it happens. And I think back on it, and I remember Frankie was as strong as an ox. I mean, he was in his 70s or early 80s when we were performing together, and it was no problem at all for him to do these steps. And in addition to that, what I remember about those is how important the timing was and how much it helped me learn the steps, because if I just would go with his timing, it was so unerring and so perfect that the whole thing worked out better with that step as it does with all the air steps. So it's about strength, and the follower also has to add a lot into it and do their part. But the timing makes it all happen perfectly and beautifully and magically.
Just coincidence, their costumes, coincidence. Work it, Frankie. It's the $1 million smile on Frankie's face there.